Welcome back. You're watching India Market Open, and we're heading straight into a conversation about JBM Auto. And it's in focus on account of the company's EV arm announcing a partnership with Driven for supplying 500 electric buses. We're going to speak to the management about what this means for their overall order flow. But before we do, let's head across to Puneet. Puneet, how important is this order in the larger scheme of things for JBM Auto?
Well, thank you for that, Alex. So it's definitely, a step in the right direction, because JBM Auto, as you mentioned, will be giving about 500 odd buses to Driven, and Driven essentially will help leasing the electric buses to fleet operators. So the initial capital, intensive business of EV bus purchase that fleet operators have to bear will have a limited, time frame, because they will be partnering with Driven, and hence helps in lowering the cost initially of purchasing the electric vehicle bus. So 500 is the number. The question being, how is this expandable to with other operators as well? That will be one of the key aspects from this conversation. Also, over the last few weeks, there have been big developments on increasing EV adoption. The Delhi EV policy is one. So a few pointers on that. And finally, the new 9,585 crore scheme, which the cabinet approved this month, in the month of June as well, where they will be, allowing 16,000 odd buses to be scrapped and giving incentives for the same. So all of these key factors as part of this conversation.
Absolutely. Nishant Arya, Vice Chairman and MD of JBM Auto, with us now on the channel speaking about this opportunity. Mr. Arya, thank you so much for your time to us here at NDTV Profit. Explain to us, if you can, this partnership with Driven. What do you mean by this partnership? So they're not just outright buying these buses from you, is it?
Yeah, so basically we'll be supplying these buses to Driven, and Driven will be deploying them with multiple operators across the country. So this will be then going across different cities for multiple applications. Primarily, I understand they are focused on intercity and luxury applications here, but we'll be happy to explore the applications in school transportation, in staff transportation, airport transit services, amongst other areas.
So from your end, it is an outright order for sale of 500 buses to Driven, is it?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And what is the kind of timeline that you see for this to be fulfilled?
We'll be doing this within next 12 months to 15 months.
And
so, around a year.
Okay, around a year. And the payments also are staggered?
No, like any sale happens, so the payments happen when the sale is done at that point itself. So there's no staggering per se.
Tell us the size of the deal, if possible.
So since it will have the compute of multiple kind of buses, so if you take today the highest luxury product, that is sold at about 2 crores per bus. So if you take all buses to be in the luxury segment, then in that case, and at the highest specification level, then it can go up to 1,000 crores, yes.
Now, I assume this has already been determined. So is this still open to conversations, whether all of these 500 buses are in the high-end luxury segment, or which segments?
Majority of them are there already, but as I understand that Driven is also engaging with multiple stakeholders, so they will be concluding that soon. So they already have requirements from multiple operators, which we'll be helping them execute.
Mr. Arya, so therefore, just to confirm, one can maybe put a range to it and say between, 800 and 1,000 crore rupees. Is that going to be booked?
that would be the right number to put across.
Yeah. So therefore, am I right in assuming that that's going to be booked in the second quarter?
No, that will be booked across next 12 to 15 months, as I said, yeah.
Okay. So as and when Driven gets into certain agreements with its partners or whoever it's catering to, those sales then reflect on your books as well.
Correct. No, so they already have multiple contracts with their customers, and we will be deploying these buses as we go along, yeah.
Okay. Tell us about the implications of this cabinet approval, this 9,585 crore scheme for the replacement of or scrapping of old buses and replacement with new buses. What is the potential or revenue potential that you see for yourself?
No, I think we are waiting for the exact detailed fine print of the scheme, which will be coming out soon. So overall perspective has come out, but definitely it will be a great shot in the arm for the industry to grow further and give the right impetus which was required from the old vehicles going off-road.
Okay. Nishant, overall, I understand you've given your delivery timelines for the 500 buses, but what happens to your existing order backlog? Because to what I understand, your order book is already at little over 10,000 odd buses. So that pipeline any which ways is strong, backlog extremely heavy. How are you looking at the execution side of it?
So execution is not a challenge for us because our capacity is 20,000 buses per year. So the execution timeline being 2.5 years is primarily based on the timeline required by the different customers, where they need to have power infrastructure in place and the depots available. So it's not dependent purely or primarily on the supply of buses. It is the whole infra being available, and then buses are supplied according to that.
Got it. So, Nishant, if you have to look at FY27 as a year, what's the target in terms of supplies that you have? From the 20,000 capacity, how much will you utilize?
So we are definitely looking at about 15% this year.
15% capacity utilization or 50%?
Yes. 15, at least 15% this year, yes.
So isn't that number very less as compared to the kind of order book that you have versus the capacity that you have? Because what 85% capacity is just getting wasted.
Yeah, no, actually what happens that we are able to get the flexibility of delivering much faster because certain customers have shorter turnaround times, and that gives us an edge. And because we have set up our plant in such a manner that it does not impact us, but definitely higher capacity utilization is always preferred. And as the market is growing, we've been enhancing our capacity utilization, which was earlier at 10%, and now we are enhancing it as we go year on year.
But Nishant, just a comment on that model, right? Because unlike certain other SKUs in the automotive space, a bus does not get sold as often as a passenger car does. So therefore, the velocity and volume of sales may not compare really with the largest car manufacturer. And so to that end, you will likely see fits and starts of these orders coming through. So do you anticipate that down the line it's going to be hard to push it up to 20-25%, maybe 50% down the line?
No. It is increasing constantly year on year. And definitely I see that it will go substantially higher, beyond 50% in the next few years. Because the thing is that the market is picking up constantly. And here we have to see, as I said, it's not the supply constraint. It is the infrastructure and everything which has to be built in line by the customers themselves for us to deliver. And in parallel, a basic difference between the passenger vehicle industry and the CV industry is, and specifically for buses where we are, is that it's all made to order. So it's not a standard product which is sold to the customer. So it's not made to sales, which is there in that case. So everything is made to order because the customers define what is that they're looking for. It's a very high level of customization.
Okay. Very quick last question, Mr. Arya, which is at the end of FY27, where do you see the capacity utilization?
As I told you, we are looking at a minimum of 15%.
All right, Mr. Arya, thanks so much for taking the time. Wish you all the best for FY27.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's talk about a stock that has gained quite considerably in the recent past, and you're probably wondering why. If you are, then you'll get that answer in the next 3 minutes. Pay very close attention. CE Info Systems. This is a stock that you probably know as Map My India. It's seen a sharp rally starting from last week. By the way, this was also part of Soumit Sarkar's herd on the street, and it was a